Hello, Madam Immaculate.
Oh, hello. Good morning to you.
Good morning to you too. Give me a brief description about yourself and what you do.
My name is Immaculate Salaon. I'm the founder and executive director for Community Initiatives Agenda. Currently, I'm involved in a number of things. There's a project work that I'm doing. Here we are only two, so I do implementation, I do admin work, everything that is available I do. I'm also an ECD specialist. I'm involved with a lot of early childhood activities in the country and outside the country. I'm a consultant in the ECD space. I'm also a Rotarian. I'm actively involved with community service in my area and beyond. And I'm also involved with church work. I'm a member of the Women's Guild. I'm a captain of the Boys and Girls Brigade. And I'm also in the development committee. I'm involved, let me say generally, I'm involved in a lot of community service work.
Tell me about your educational background.
I started schooling at primary school in Nakuru, Harambee Khalsa, for my primary education. But before then, my dad was a teacher, and every time he went to school, he would carry me along with him. So I started gaining certain skills quite early. Then formal learning at Harambee Khalsa in Nakuru. I completed my class 7. I did quite well. I was called to join Meriliki Girls for my levels, Meriliki in Lower Kabete. I was there for 4 years. I did quite well, and I joined A-levels in the same school for 2 years. At the end of the 2 years, of course, I had to sit for my exam, but I encountered a challenge. I'd started having some medical issues, specifically migraine. And just before the exams, I got admitted in hospital, Kikuyu Hospital. And I was there for some time. I actually did my exam in hospital. And that, of course, affected my grades. I didn't do very well. I missed narrowly to get to the university.
In your secondary education, what subjects did you like?
Mainly, social, the English, Kiswahili. I loved the languages, biology. I loved cookery and housekeeping. Those ones were there those days. There was needlework. I had a lot of interest in needlework, but we had a terrible teacher who just completely discouraged me from that. But I know I have a gift in knitting and crocheting and all that stuff. Now, after secondary, I didn't enter university immediately because, like I told you, I failed. I got 2 principals and 1 sub. I needed 3 to take me to the university. But I vowed I must, at some point in life, I must get myself to the university because I was brilliant. It's only that I had those issues. So after 6th form, I had an uncle here in Kibiko who said, "Hey, very good friends, a brother, my mom's brother." So he said, "Hey, come and stay with us. I could probably get you something to do, or as you decide or make up your mind on what you want to do." I was still set on doing something, of course. So when I joined him, he got me a job at Ngong Hills Academy Primary School. And I started teaching. I was happy because there were children. We became such good friends. In fact, I was like, am I the teacher here? And I really enjoyed being there. But I still felt I wasn't doing enough for the children. Or rather, I didn't have opportunities to impact the way I would have wished into their lives. This was more of giving knowledge. And this being a private school, children didn't have many issues. made me feel good because children would come to me, whatever issue they had, they would come to me. The school also trusted in me. I was a coordinator for many of the activities in school, including sports.
What next did you do after Ngong Hills?
I went back to school, to a college. I did a certificate in the early childhood development diploma. This gave me an opportunity actually to move to a preschool and head the school. That's Jolliday Nursery School, a branch of the Olerai group of schools. So I was there for like 4 years. It's a private school. But I kept feeling this vacuum in me. I was still not contributing enough or impacting the way I've wished, because it was also a private school. And I said, I want to work with children that are disadvantaged. So I was like, so how do I do this? And that's when I took an about turn, and I left my job and I went to the university. And I enrolled for education, specifically early childhood, because of my belief in the foundation of the human being. Yeah, so I was there and I completed. And I forgot to mention to you that I'm married. So I went to school when I had a family. With all the challenges of motherhood, I actually stayed at the campus, so I'd come over the weekend. But that discouraged me. Yes. After the university, I went into the employment world. So in the employment world, I've done quite a number of things. I've done a diploma in project management. I have also done a number of courses to facilitate me to work in the development world, how to work with vulnerable communities, project management. I'm actually certified. I'm a certified project manager.
Where did you practice your project management?
I've worked for Child Fund. Those days it was known as, it was Child Fund. Today it has a different name. If I remember, I'll let you know. I've worked for Feed the Children. I've worked for Path International. That's where I go to practice my skills. And then I also had a project in Malawi under UNDP. I worked closely with the Ministry of Gender. And the Ministry of Gender, because children issues were under the Ministry of Gender.
Let's talk about early childhood development education.
Early childhood development mainly focuses on the child right from the time the child is conceived. We have the education part, which comes later. But for me, early childhood begins when the child is conceived, because this is when we begin to think about the health of the child, the nutrition of the child, everything, the growth of the child in all perspectives, before they're actually born and they go into the school. So this is the time we are laying the foundation. And that is why we say it's critical for the mother, it's critical for the child, and that is why she has to go for the 4 ANCs, attend clinic, eat well, take all the jabs that she requires, monitor the growth of the child to ensure that when this child is born, they'll not be just at a point of survival. They will also be supported to thrive. So as soon as a baby is born, then of course they are linked to a health facility because of growth monitoring. The mother also needs care around this time, exclusive breastfeeding. We need to ensure that the child is developing in all domains, the cognitive domain, the social, the emotional, the spiritual, the moral, sometimes that we leave behind. Then when they get to the early childhood centers, then if we have the right environment, they should continue with other aspects of development.
Yeah. We talked about What about the community initiatives agenda?
Before I left employment with Path International, I worked towards registering community initiatives agenda. At the end of 2016, I had a certificate. Then I gave myself time for transitioning. I was at the point of receiving new funding for the project I was heading. So I didn't want just to step out and leave things in chaos. So I wanted to set some good ground. Before actually left, I had the donor coming in and just being sure that the ground is ripe for an ongoing project that they funded then. Then I felt it was time for me to step out. Of course, like my boss was very disappointed because he had just visited the country, he's American. And in 2 weeks' time, I was saying, hey, I'm leaving. I remember he called me at night via Skype. He saw me on Skype and he said, could I speak to you? What has gone so wrong? I was there 2 weeks ago and there was no indication. I said, Matthew, I think I've done my best. Let somebody else come and take over with the new funding. I need to do something that I so much desire, to work with the communities. Yeah.
This is Career Avenue. We are having a lively conversation with Mrs. Immaculate Salaon. We are going for a short break, but when we come back, she's going to tell us about the circumstances that led her to where she is today.
Education. Education is life. It's through education that we ensure that tomorrow's generation and the next is nurtured well and that the environment they live in guarantees them a good future. Edu TV is at the very heart of this vision. Edu TV transmits educational content and entertainment programs as well all over Kenya, and this doesn't stop. Edu TV, the national educator.
Welcome back to Career Avenue. If you're just joining us, we are talking to Mrs. Immaculate Salaon, the founder and director of the Community Initiatives Agenda. Madam Immaculate, what are the circumstances that led you to founding the Community Initiatives Agenda?
Wow, that's a good question. Now, I think I mentioned to you way back in primary school, I started encountering children who really lacked in so many ways. And my desire started way back when I was in school, wanting to put a smile on somebody's face. Not about how much I do, but something little that could make somebody else happy. And you know, sometimes for children are not asking for these big things. Some are even asking for, could you just talk to me? Could you listen to me? Could you be there for me? And this desire grew in me, and there was a vacuum all the way. And I felt I really needed to step out of formal employment and just do what I desired to do. So I left my good job at Path. Most of my friends actually thought I was crazy. Where are you going? You're leaving such a well-paying job. Are you sure? What is it that you want to go and do? I think you have a problem. Some felt, no, this is not the time. You can't form an organization. The people who form organizations are people doing very well with so much money. You can't form an organization in Kenya. There's a lot of corruption. But I was so determined to come up with a vehicle that would help me achieve my goals. Actually, I designed everything. I don't know whether you saw the logo out there. I designed everything. I only sent to somebody to print. I worked on my constitution. I did all the steps alone. Then I was in Kisumu. I met a very nice lady at the NGO board in Kisumu, an elderly lady who kept encouraging me. I would do something, she says, okay, we need to correct here. I did everything, and finally, on 1st of November, 2016, I had the certificate. Yes, you know, you can't, some of these things, you need a vehicle really to enable you. If I walked to you today and I said, hey, give me 500 shillings, I need to do something. I come again another time, you might not believe in me, because even if you wanted to follow me up to find out what I'm doing or what I say, to find out if what I say is what I'm doing, you might not trace me. So I really wanted to have a legal entity, work with a legal entity, even work in partnership. I believe in partnership. You see, children have various needs, and you might not be able just to do everything. Some will require food, others drugs, others so many things. So if you have a vehicle like community initiatives, it means you can work in partnership with people who are skilled in other areas and ensure that this one child can receive education, health, child protection, everything in totality. But one person can't do everything.
What really motivates you? What puts you out there?
What puts me out there is when I see the joy in children, whatever little things I do. For example, I have this boy we really love. It's called Abraham. Abraham is a child that came to me in a very interesting way. We had gone to one of the schools in Kajiado South. So as we interacted with the teachers and the children, one child just came very close to me. Actually, he stood here. While we were there, the teacher told me, oh, Ima, they called me Ima, it's my short name. I'll tell you about that child. And I was like, tell me about this child, what could be the issue? So later they told me this child is such a lovely, everybody who sees that boy says, oh man, this boy is, you will not think he's sick, but he is sick. So whenever we have a visit to the school, we always visit their place. He lives with a very old grandmother. So anytime I'm able to just touch that boy and just have him on my lap, talk to him, it gives me such joy. I cannot equate it to anything. My day spent out there in the field with these children gives me all the joy and all the fulfillment. Yeah. Let's
now talk about what other activities are you engaged in?
I'm engaged in a lot of work. One, I'm a trainer. I'm a master trainer in care for child development. That's a UNICEF WHO package that was introduced here in Kenya. We've used that package to train health professionals. This includes nurses, nutritionists, clinical officers, community health workers, community health assistants, and it's all about children. We have caregivers who don't speak to their children. And I tell caregivers, you can make your child a genius by how you begin to interact with them. That I need to look at my baby, I need to touch my baby, I need to massage my baby, I need to speak to my baby, I need to sing to my baby, which plays a key role in terms of emotional, cognitive, and social development. So that's what care for child development is all about. Now, I'm also engaged in evaluations. I did an evaluation for Aga Khan Foundation They've been implementing care for child development in Zanzibar, Uganda, Tanzania, and Kenya. I'm also involved in policy development. I work closely with the Ministry of Health. Some of the documents that I've reviewed is the IMCI guidelines. We have the Children and Adolescent policy and the Ministry of Health. We have other training manuals that are developed jointly with others. Now, the care for child development, the original package that I mentioned was by UNICEF and WHO. I was tasked with adopting for Kenya. I've also reviewed training materials for 1 Acre Fund. And when I say reviewing, it's mainly to bring in a comprehensive package on care for child development, because people realize today early childhood development is critical to anybody in development. And in my work in the community, especially around HIV and early childhood, men have not been very involved, and especially in early childhood. So at one time we said, okay, as a bait, we'll come up with a men football club. So when the men come together, men love football. So when they come together, then you have an opportunity to bring in this component about their role in care for child development.
You've heard of the new system the Ministry of Education is rolling out, the competency-based curriculum, CBC. One of its main focus is nurturing learners' potential. What do you think this will help young people?
First and foremost, for me, this is the best curriculum, because the emphasis is the learner. It's not about me, the adult, it's about the learner. And CBC for me, I find it great because it gives children an opportunity to develop their talents. You see, if you keep doing things for me, I'll never learn how to do them. And the former system, we see teachers spoon feeding most of the children. They are not given an opportunity. So every time it's the teacher. Today we have people just sitting and waiting for jobs. They are not thinking of how I could scan my environment and see what are the challenges and begin to think, how do I solve? For example, we have wastes all over the place. Can we have young people coming together? We have community initiatives. Can they come out even with an organization that can think about waste management? But these things start early. Like we say, once a tree has grown bent, you cannot straighten it. So if we start these things early, instilling values. 2, it brings the children together with the parents. There is nothing like I'm coming to sign your homework, which you did. Some of these activities are done jointly with the parent. So parents have a role to play, as opposed to this other system. I'll come at night and ask, did you do your homework? It's wapi diary? And I sign. The other benefit with CBC, we see children being prepared early in life to handle life. If I can go back to my time in primary school, we did subjects that prepared us for life. Today, how many children can sew a button? How many girls are getting married today and they can't cook? They can't prepare simple things like tea. These are the ones buying food in the streets. The chopped sukuma wiki, the boiled githeri, but they are not conscious about the hygiene. I hope you are not a victim. Yeah, so for me, CBC is good. It's come at the right time, and I hope everybody embraces. If we can create enough awareness, I think this is one of the best things that government has done.
I can see you have very lovely photos here. Please tell me about them.
Wow, okay. Now, this, I had an opportunity at a social function to interact with Her Excellency Margaret Kenyatta. And as you are aware, she's a crusader for children issues. We share the same passion. And so I had a good opportunity just to look at issues around children and what is happening, and to see how what she's doing and what I'm doing impacts on children. Yeah, people are always fascinated by this photo. It was all about early childhood. That's what I'm passionate about. I also have another one here, which I'll tell you something about it. Now, this photo was taken during the first regional early childhood conference, first ever in Africa, under the Early Africa Early Childhood Network, AFCAN. And there was a lot of excitement around this because it was the first. This kind of early childhood conferences have always happened outside other countries. People travel all over, but we had an opportunity to have it. So the president was a guest, of course, accompanied by the Minister Health, Minister Education, and the county government chief, because it was happening here. Because you're saying, it's, sometimes we look at the child and only think about education and leave the health bit out there. So we are saying it's important that we begin to coordinate. We had people from different countries that were in the country. And so since I'm a member of the Africa Regional Network, then we had an opportunity to take this photo. It was a very exciting moment for Kenya. Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
What is that one thing that you believe in?
What I believe in is taking a step. It could be one step. But they say Rome was not built in a day. So one step, if I make a step today, when I come tomorrow, I'll be making the second step. You cannot compare me with somebody who is saying, oh, I'll start. I think I need to start. Yeah, I'll start. New year, oh yes, that is one of my resolutions. Start where you are. Just make that step of faith. So start where you are. Otherwise, we will never start anything. Same with school. Some will never start because they want to start climbing the tree from the top, as opposed to those baby steps, and then you scale up. You will not go wrong if you start here, but aim very far. Yes.
Thank you very much for making time, Mrs. Immaculate Salaon.
Oh, thank you. It was my pleasure to share some time with you. Yes.